This is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have a very special treat for you. We're going to juice a nice summertime fruit. The fruit right here we're going to juice today are some plums. Now you may be thinking, hey John, aren't plums related to prunes? Well, yes, prunes are a type of plum, so you could actually, in my area, you could buy actually fresh prunes, and then if you dry the fresh prunes, you get real prunes, and sometimes they call dried plums prunes. You figure that out? But in any case, the prune juice that you would buy in the store is basically juiced up dried plums, or a certain variety of dried plums, and that has a really big laxative effect. So when you actually juice fresh plums, guess what? It has a gentle laxative effect, so it's not a strong laxative effect. So today what we're going to juice is 4 cups of fresh pitted plums. Now it's very important, the Omega Vert and no other juicer will actually handle the pits in the plums. They are too hard, they'll break the machine, so you'll need to basically take the pits out before juicing. So plums can be a delicious juice to make, and as always, as soon as you make a juice, I recommend drinking it then and there and don't storing your juice. The minute you start storing your juice, the nutrition starts to degrade and go down. After all, isn't that the reason why you're making your own fresh juice, so that you could have the highest quality nutrition? I hope so. In any case, let's talk more about these plums today. One of the reasons why I like plums is because they are high in vitamin A, vitamin C, also vitamin K, but more importantly, they have phenols in there that are basically antioxidants. So they're good for us and really delicious too. It's best when you're choosing plums to juice in any juicer, not just the Omega Vert, to pick nice, hard, firm fruit. You don't want to get soft and mushy fruit. Those tend to not work as well. I bought a whole case of plums and they're going ripe, so one of the things I like to do with ripe fruit is to juice them up and see how it works. Now, if you juice the plums without the skin, your plum juice is going to taste really sweet. It's the skin of these plums that give it that little bitter tinge. But overall, after we juice them, it's going to taste really nice. So these ones have been depitted and they are actually fairly soft, so I'm really interested in seeing how the Omega VRT330 HD juicer will juice these soft pitted plums. In general, I don't necessarily recommend juicing your fruits. I recommend blending them up or eating them whole, so making smoothies out of them, because when you make smoothies, instead of juicing, you're keeping all the fiber. Now, the plums are definitely rich in pectin. Apples also have pectin, a really good fiber for us to digest. Even in the juice, there will be small levels of the pectin, but if you blend these up, you're going to have a lot more pectin. And the fiber also helps to regulate the digestion of the sugar in your bloodstream. So you're not going to spike your blood sugar as much when you eat them whole or blend them up. But that being said, fresh made plum juice or any other fresh juice made with fruits in your juicer is always better than a Coke. So think good, better, best. So next, let's start juicing. We're going to go ahead and turn this machine on. This is the only plum I have that wasn't already pitted, so we're just going to basically tear this apart right over the machine and check it out. This is really juicy. It's literally dripping all the juice. We're going to drop in all the pieces and being careful not to drop in the pit. The pit will definitely damage the machine. So there is the plum pit. Once again, no pits should be going into the Omega Vert juicer or any other juicer. Now you can juice the cherry pits and also small seeds. So like grape seeds are fine, apple seeds are fine, orange seeds are fine. The juicer can handle it, but the question is, can you handle it? When you're juicing some seeds, such as citrus seeds, it may make your juice really taste bitter and not so good. If you're juicing things like apple seeds, they do contain some small levels of cyanide, so you may want to be cautious when putting apple seeds to the machine. If you don't want to take a chance, just take out the seeds before you juice them. So that was one piece, and it looks like it worked pretty well. We got some fiber over here, and over on this side, we got a juice, and it's coming out a little bit thick. Next, let's go ahead and pour some of this stuff in here. So when we were taking out the seeds of these guys, a lot of the juice came out, so we just caught all the juice. So we're literally pouring some of the juice, and now here's some of the pieces of the plums just dropping right in the machine. One of the things I like about the Omega Vert juicer is that you don't have to use the pusher as long as the pieces aren't large enough to clog up the feed chute. So all these pieces are nice and small. they'll drop in the machine. And after you drop something into the machine, you want to let it process. So you don't want to just dump all this in at once. You're going to overload the machine. So, take your time, drop one piece in at a time, and let the machine do its work. I mean, that's, after all, what it's there for. It's there to juice and not get backed up if you're feeding things too quickly. So as you can see here, out this side, we're getting the pulp, the hard fiber. So over on this side, we're getting the juice. I'd probably call that more of a nectar because it is a little bit thick. And man, check out the deep, rich color on that. I really encourage you to be eating foods of color. Foods of color, of all the colors in the rainbow, have different antioxidants in them, and they're really healthy and nutritious for us. And I would encourage you to avoid products, that are refined. White flour and white sugars, they're pretty much devoid of a lot of nutrition, and we want to be eating the rainbow. And the juicer is the #1 kitchen appliance, I believe, that can help you, get healthier and eat a wider variety of foods. I mean, most people don't like to eat their kale. Do you like to eat your kale or collard greens? But you could easily juice up some kale or collard greens in the juicer with some apples and cucumber and celery and have a great tasting juice that's also going to be very nutritious for you. So you can see here this machine's working really well. We're getting some fiber out on this side, and it looks like it's fairly dry. We're mostly getting the skin out on the pulp side, and here's once again a large piece. And once again, I'm just literally dropping the plum pieces into the machine, and it's juicing it right up. I think this is doing an amazing job. Now let's for a second talk about produce selection. So when you are in the store or at your local farmer's market and you are buying produce to juice, you're always going to get the best results with fresh produce and firm produce, especially the fruits. Like, don't be buying soggy lettuce or kale or collard leaves. They're not going to juice when the cell walls are kind of getting soft and broken down. I mean, if we had harder plums, we'd get more of a defined juice instead of a nectar. So you want to keep that in mind. You can't say, hey, John, I'm getting some nectar out of my juicer. What's going on? Well, hey, maybe you didn't get nice, hard, and firm produce. That being said, I generally recommend you get the ripest fruits possible because they're going to have the most flavor. So that's kind of a conundrum there. If you want a juice, you need to get unripe fruits that are more hard and firm. But for the best flavor, you want to get them more ripe, so you're going to get stuck with a nectar. I'm really excited to taste this nectar. I've never made plum juice or plum nectar before. As you can see, we're almost done juicing these plums, and actually I think we're going to overload the catch container there. I think we're going to go ahead and stop. We weren't even able to juice our entire 4 cups of plums because it's actually getting over full. We're going to go ahead and let that run for a second, and then we're going to turn it off and try this fresh plum nectar. So let's check out this fiber coming out. As you can see, this fiber is like a dark red. Now, you don't need to throw this fiber out. You can just simply eat it. Wow. Makes my mouth pucker. Mostly in the fiber here, you're getting mostly the skin because it is really dark. Don't forget, a lot of the nutrition is in the skin, and while the juicer does get some of the nutrition out of the skin because the nectar is really dark, there's still a lot of nutrition left in this. So you could actually spread this on a dehydrator sheet, dehydrate this into a tart fruit roll-up. You could also put it into baked goods, put it into smoothies. You could also feed some pulps to your pets. So carrot pulp, we often feed to the little dogs in the house. So let's go ahead and turn the machine off. We're gonna go ahead and stick this pulp catch collector underneath the juice spout because it still might be dripping. And here is all our fresh plum juice, or more appropriately plum nectar. It's actually very thick. Let's go ahead and try that. Wow. Nice and smooth. It tastes so delicious and so refreshing on a hot summer day. And once again, I always encourage you to purchase in-season fruits and vegetables that are vegetables and fruits that are grown in your climate, that are in season, that aren't shipped from far away, because you're always going to get a higher quality produce the closer it is it's grown to home. But even better yet, grow your own produce. Plant some fruit trees, grow some vegetables in your yard so you could have the ultimate. Grow your own vegetables and juice them too. Hope you've enjoyed this episode learning more about juicing plums in the Omega Vert VRT330 HD juicer. Once again, I am John Kohler from discountjuicers.com. Be sure to visit discountjuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.